No one, I swear. What in Dirty's name is going on?
Right, when you accepted this role, did you know it was going to be a musical?
Yeah. I mean, Tolkien writes a lot of songs throughout his book, particularly in The Hobbit. And I remember I did it on stage at the Alex Theatre in Birmingham.
Oh.
And there were quite a few songs. I remember, you know, the plates and bottles song very clearly.
Did it create a good camaraderie on set though? Were you actually all there together, like chanting away?
Yeah, I mean, in the spiritual song, you know, the Misty Mountains song, which is one of Tolkien's beautiful poems in the book, you know, that was a real bonding moment. And it was a very, you know, one of the very few still, quiet moments where the dwarves were pretty serious and united. So it was really nice to play that.
And what did you actually think when you first got that call to, like, you know, we want you to have the starring role in this film? You're going to be a dwarf.
It's baffling actually, because you know one of the things I remember going in to meet Peter and thinking, he's never going to cast me. I'm 6'2". Why on earth would he cast? And I've always been too tall for most things. So going in to meet for a dwarf was I was like, I'm not going to get cast. What do I do? Do I bend my knees a bit and stoop? And thinking, actually no, you know, he'll do his digital work. But yeah, it was fascinating to be a big person inside a smaller body, because I do think that the dwarves have big egos and they think of themselves as a grand nation, and so they should. Yeah,
and of course there's, as opposed to the digital trickery, there's a lot of practical trickery going on to, like, making the effect work. What was your favourite on set trick that they used for the perspective?
I always liked it when they built platforms, because you'd block a scene. I think I have a scene. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time with Gandalf, for example, they'd block a scene and they'd give you free movement, which is very unusual, and then they would build like a catwalk for Ian to walk along exactly where he'd walked, which raised him a foot off the ground. But you know, obviously, then you're locked into that pattern. But you know, the good old-fashioned putting people on boxes was used in this movie.
But presumably a lot of the sets were built to a scale of sorts. So was it disorientating at the end of the day, coming out into the real world again?
Yeah, I mean, both versions of the set. You know, there were dwarf scale sets where everything was huge, and then there were human sets where we couldn't really ever enter, you know, that world because we'd become too big. Although I think there were certain sections of Lake Town where they managed to cheat that, where we were on the human size set, but you know, the camera can do tricks. I mean, Bayon's house was interesting because when you sit at the table's up here, and suddenly you feel like a child, and that was tough. That was difficult for Thorin to deal with.
Are you aware that Thorin has become an internet meme? Or do you,
I don't really know what a meme is.
Right.
Is it like this?
If only it was. They've taken up the I have never been so wrong as a kind of a cool, with loads of people captioning different. Never been
is
so
it with
wrong.
love or with ridicule?
Oh, both.
Oh, good.
Which is the best. No, what do you think you've never been so wrong about?
I'm never wrong. I'm always right. So, yeah, no, nothing in my life. I'm always right. No, I believe in instinct, and I believe in destiny, and I, you know, as much as I fight my instincts, you know, more often than not, my instincts are right. So, but that's out of my control.
Poor taste.
Who out of your fellow dwarven actors do you think is most like their character?
I've got to say, across the board, every one of those dwarves are pretty like their character. Maybe John Callan doesn't have a hearing problem, but possibly Jimmy's sense of humour is the thing that pervades his character more than anybody else.